Welcome to Guild Wars 2 Goldlocked, a challenge series where we are exploring the world of Tyria one zone at a time, and today we are exploring through the Dredgehaunt Cliffs, a zone that I definitely have some thoughts about that I want to dive into, so let's get started. Just like with any other map in this series, I'm going to progress through it to get 100% map completion while also taking a quick glance at some different things. As I do all of this, I have a lot to talk about. When I first started the series, this is the point in the series that I said was my goal to get to, and I also did talk about going a bit further. Upon playing through everything I have done in the series, I have definitely experienced a lot, and have a bunch of random thoughts I'm going to do my best to summarize. In short, I think this series has been very successful, and I am super happy with it, and I am super appreciative of all of the support. Like with any other series ever made ever, it has definitely died down a bit, but it's still pretty popular. I can definitely continue making a bunch of videos for every map in Guild Wars 2, but I think for the purposes of this series in particular, anything beyond vanilla kind of beats the purpose. Additionally, within each video, I feel like most of the video is a lot of fluff, and we only ever talk about the biggest things for a short time. On top of all of that, each video kind of feels the same, where we are just gathering some resource nodes, then trying to find a couple of mobs to farm, and then maybe do something special if the map has something special like Tequato. There's really not that much variation between maps, it's just the vibes of the map are different. As such, I feel like with each video, the entire series does get a little bit more boring, and it will continue to do so even more as we continue forward, especially if we get to the point of Queensdale, Kessex Hills, Brisbane Wildlands, Caledon Forest, and Metrical Province, which are incredible maps, but are basically exactly the same type of stuff we have done. Wish the videos getting even more boring is something that I do not want. I most definitely do not want this series to overstay its welcome. And I suppose that does confirm the idea that we started this entire series with. Vanilla Guild Wars 2 maps were most definitely not designed with gold making in mind, and with how the game works on a foundational level, the opportunities for creative gold making can definitely be limited. So, with all that said, I think I want to continue with this video, of course, and then do one final bigger video where we kind of throw the Goldlocked concept to the side, and maybe just highlight a bunch of stuff located in maps that we haven't explored yet, but all in one video. So it's big thing after big thing after big thing, all in one big video with little to no fluff. Then beyond this series, I have a big idea for another series that is very similar to this one, but also completely different, that I think more people will be interested in, especially since we have spent so much time highlighting the same topics within this series. For what that series is, well, I'll leave it at that for now and keep it as a surprise, which we should hopefully get to pretty soon. So, with all that said, I hope you enjoyed this series, and I hope that we are approaching what feels like a good stopping point to move on to other things, and I hope you all enjoy the next series after this. And with all of that said, I have finally gotten 100% map completion in Dredgehaunt Cliffs. I can go ahead and begin returning to a trading post, which a fun thing about this map is that it actually shares a border with and has a map entrance to Holbrook, the Northern capital city where we started this entire series. So inside of that map, I can check with the trading post NPC and pick up the total of 3 gold, 9 silver, and 57 copper. And now it's time for the same old idea we have been doing through every map and checking out the gathering nodes. Last episode was special because Sparkfly Fen is an exceptionally good and world-renowned map when it comes to gathering nodes for money. I can safely say that Dredgehaunt Cliffs is not going to be as profitable, but it should still net us a decent amount of gold with what is available to gather. We can find iron ore and gold ore on the various veins around the map, as well as seasoned wood logs on fir saplings. As far as plants go, we can find mature herbs, onions, portobello mushrooms, root vegetables, scallions, varied mushrooms, variegated taproots, young herbs, zucchini, and a cabbage node farm. Really quickly, I want to mention a fun fact that I actually pieced together and learned while making this series. In the original maps of Guild Wars 2, each map has exactly 1 node farm, excluding 3 maps that don't have any. Those maps are Wayfarer Foothills, Malcor's Leap, and Cursed Shore. Wayfarer Foothills is a little interesting because it used to have a potato farm, but was removed for whatever reason. But I find it interesting that each map has 1 individual node farm, which I think is kind of a fun system. But we see after Vanilla Guild Wars 2 that the system is more varied, with some maps having none, some having only 1, and some having multiple. Navigating this map was definitely decently easy with a little bit of a challenge, particularly with the amount of caves in this map. In total, it took me 35 minutes to go across the entire map and gather everything that I could find. I got 101 iron ore, worth about 1 gold and 17 silver, 65 gold ore, worth about 22 silver, 111 seasoned wood logs, worth about 82 silver, 1 sunstone lump, worth about 31 silver, 13 black peppercorn, worth about 17 silver, 4 thyme leaves, worth about 8 silver, and 10 heads of cabbage, which are essentially worthless. With everything else sold, our grand total is 3 gold, 24 silver, and 45 copper, or about 5 gold and 57 silver per hour, about what we expected. Now let's talk about Dredgehaunt Cliffs as a whole. When it comes to anything in life, I'm not a very negative person, and when it comes to Guild Wars 2 in particular, I definitely don't like talking about negative things. And I want to preface this by saying that I still enjoy playing in my least favorite maps of Guild Wars 2, but for me, Dredgehaunt Cliffs is definitely down there. I just don't really enjoy this map too much, from navigating through it to map completing it to there just not being too many interesting things in general. And I think across the community, this map tends to be one of the less popular ones in the game. But of course, there are still some interesting things that I definitely want to highlight. Maybe the most unique is a return to a special item that only drops from a single source in the entire game, and that source is in this map. If you remember back to Diessa Plateau with Rindak's Signet, that item is important for the Treasure Hunter collection. Another item needed is the Commissar's Manifesto, which drops from defeating the champion Dredge Commissar during that respective event in the Tribulation Rift area. In order for this boss to spawn, it has a 20-minute cooldown from its previous completion, and when it is able to spawn, all of the events around both Fridgarder Lodge as well as Firebase Moloch have to be completed. The item itself sells for about 140 gold to 180 gold, so if you make sure the events around here are completed, you can get a chance to fight this enemy. I love the theme of this entire meta event, titled In Pursuit of Knowledge, but the events themselves are only okay. And every day you fight this enemy, you have a chance to get this item, which can be a pretty big boost of gold for you if you happen to get it. While we are on the topic of Dredge, I think it is worthwhile to check out what they can offer us. Dredgehaunt Cliffs as a whole unfortunately doesn't have too many enemies that I could find at least that are contenders for being good gold farms. The one enemy that are incredibly abundant throughout the map are the Dredge. So I want to do a classic mob killing farm where I just run around the entire map, kill a bunch of Dredge for 30 minutes and see what we get. The main and only super unique thing we got were 50 miner sacks, selling for about 3 silver and 33 copper each, or about 1 gold and 66 silver altogether, with everything sold adding up to 1 gold, 82 silver, and 38 copper, or about 2 gold and 65 silver per hour. Definitely not the best. I wanted to do a little bit more random stuff around the map to just try to find something that may end up being a good gold farm, and I really couldn't find anything worthwhile. I want to take a quick diversion to go do something fun that is just a tiny bit of cheating. Last Winter's Day, I spent some time in Divinity's Reach participating in the festive activities. As I've been working on this video, Lunar New Year began with the New Year of the Horse, and I wanted to highlight it just a tiny bit. Many of the same ideas that we talked about during Winter's Day is the same here. Do some fun activities and just make some gold. There are a bunch of activities, but the most worthwhile is the Celestial Challenge, with a supposed 14 gold per hour in optimal circumstances. Most of the bags that you get during this festival are heavily influenced by Magic Find. As such, you should gather a bunch of bags, try to max out your Magic Find, and open them. But there is one type of bag that is really fun to casually open once a day: Divine Lucky Envelopes. You can buy 8 a day for 1 gold each, and an additional 8 a day for 90 silver, and 1 token of the Celestial Champion from the Celestial Challenge each. Within each one, you normally get 88 silver from the golden figurine, plus a few other items, so at worst you will lose just under 1 gold a day from buying the main 8 ones. But there's a chance to get an ornamental golden trophy, which is worth 8 gold, 88 silver, and 88 copper, which is a nice, albeit random and uncommon, chance for some bonus gold. So for our character, I wanted to pick up the main 8 and an additional 3 from the Celestial Challenge and open them to see what I get. And I got 12 golden horse figurines, selling for 10 gold, 66 silver, and 56 copper, with no ornamental golden trophies. So, unfortunately, just a net loss, which means I will have to spend some more time in Dredgehaunt Cliffs farming for gold. When it comes to farming gold in the Dredgehaunt Cliffs, I thought I would just spend some time farming the White Moa in this map. This has been one of the most reliable gold farms out of everything, though maybe a little boring after doing it for such a long time. Slabs of poacher meat have gone up and down over the time of doing this series, with a massive drop right after the Visions of Eternity expansion released, but it has climbed back up to be a price that it generally was before the expansion, but is still several silver less than its all-time high. The issue with farming Moa that I have talked about is how the farm itself can feel pretty inconsistent. You can kill a few Moa and get several slabs of poacher meat, and then spend a long time killing many Moa and just not get any drops at all. The former feels very great, and the latter feels really bad. In the long run though, it does eventually balance out. Wish after a long while of farming Moa and doing a bunch of other random things, I can finally return to the trading post and get the last bit of gold I need to reach my 50 gold earned in the Dredgehaunt Cliffs goal. Let's check some stats. I have now earned a grand total of 600 gold throughout this series. We are still mastery level 11, have played for a bit over 101 hours, and have died 35 times. Of course, next episode is going to be completely different than the rest of the series, where we are going to dive deep into the most noteworthy farms that we haven't highlighted yet in Vanilla Guild Wars 2 before we move on to another type of gold farming series. I'll see you then.